Charlie Parker was an American jazz musician, primarily playing the alto sax, also known as Bird or Yardbird. He is known for his innovation in soloing and making jazz more intellectual than just entertainment. He is one of the founders of bebop, breaking the confines of key and using all 12 notes available. He particularly had a breakthrough whilst in a practice session playing a track called Cherokee in 1939. His career took off in the second half of the 40s after the war, and after making a lot of well-regarded albums, he died in 1955.
Dizzy Gillespie was an American jazz trumpeter. He originated in South Carolina, and his career spanned 1953 to 1993. Little stories about him. He was once fired from Cab Calloway's band for stabbing Cab Calloway in the leg. Midway through his career at a party, his trumpet got bent. Somebody sat on it, apparently, or something like that. And he found that he liked the sound. So although he got it straightened out, he felt himself hankering for the sound of the bent trumpet. So he got several of them, actually, over the years, specially made with the trumpet pointing up at a 45-degree angle. And I think my favourite story, in 1964, he put himself forward as a presidential candidate, proposing various things, but including changing the name of the White House to the Blues House, a cabinet mostly of famous musicians. The Librarian of Congress was going to be Ray Charles, for example. Malcolm X appeared on his list as well, and lots of other people that you would have heard of. Like all these well-known jazz musicians, he's produced many, many records. He was also a writer, so he's credited with quite a few tunes himself, and an actor.
Hi, my name's Dan. So this is my first time listening to this album, and it is an album of small band instrumental jazz. So there's a little bit of housekeeping to do here because there's two versions of this that were basically issued. So there was an original LP, and then there was a CD reissue quite a bit later. And the CD reissue had quite a lot of other versions of a lot of the tracks, but interestingly, what it did was it left out two of the tracks that were on the original LP version. And there's a really good reason for this, which is those two tracks feature Charlie Parker, but don't Bird and Diz, but don't feature Dizzy Gillespie. They've actually got a guy called Kenny Dorham on trumpet, who I've also heard of. So it's this bizarre thing that it wasn't quite what it said on the tin. However, the version that I've listened to review is that original LP version. So shorter than the CD version, but including these two extra tracks. Oh, excuse me, which I'm going to talk about a bit. Let's talk about who else is on here. So there are names here that I recognise. We've got Buddy Rich on drums, and on those two Renegade tracks, there's Max Roach and Thelonious Monk on piano here, except for the Renegade tracks. We've also got bass names that I didn't recognise, and additionally, a bongo and trombone on one of those Renegade tracks in here. And I would say this is standard bookended jazz. So by that I mean do a tune, do a little of improv, finish with a tune. I didn't, completely crack all that in my head to know that is exactly what has been done. Sometimes there's returns to tune in the middle, but I can't say that if that's happened here or not. One thing that I found interesting to note is Thelonious Monk on the piano, which is if I'd thought about it, I might have spotted him if I kind of listened to it and go, I wonder if I can work out who's playing the piano here, because he is quite idiosyncratic in his piano playing, particularly his kind of his timing is unusual. But in this setting, it doesn't seem to kind of stand out as being weird, and it does work. And when you listen to it and it's him, you kind of go, yeah, he is doing some of his things. But um, yeah, it works. So this kind of, in some ways, harks back to the fact that my first real listen of Thelonious Monk was on a solo album, and his piano on its own just sounds really odd. In that he's got these timing things that he does, and it's just without everything else there to give it um, the kind of framework, it does come across as kind of quite odd. Um, what else I'm going to say? So the balancing at times of the recordings is not the best. I have to say that. So I've had quite a lot of small band instrumental jazz uh, come through on the list. So I've been, obviously listened to quite a bit of this. I've got really used to listening to Rudy Van Gelder's recordings, so the Van Gelder studio, and then the remasters by the same studio, I think by Rudy himself, which have just the kind of signature of it is really clear tone to everything, and this is less clear. It's got a little bit more kind of fuzziness to it, but it's in some ways it's warmer as well at the same time. So interesting. I did enjoy it, but I would say that it's got a fair feel, but it didn't light me up as some really good jazz can do. Um, so, which is, my standards must be very high because this is Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie, and no slouches when it comes to doing jazz. So I found it fun, but not super engaging. And that's what I think. And please, will you let me know what you think of this album by leaving me a comment? And that's it from me for now.